so we say the well is there to refresh them so that they can be a refreshment to others.
Welcome, changemakers, to Voices of Impact, where we burst through the bubbles of indifference and shine a light on the pressing issues shaping our world. I'm your host, Audrina, and each week we bring you inspiring stories from the front lines of change. We'll meet the incredible founders of nonprofits who are tirelessly working to solve the challenges that matter most. Through their voices, we awaken to the realities around us, inspire social responsibility, and empower you to take action, whether it's by volunteering, donating, or simply spreading the word. Together, let's build a more compassionate and engaged world. Tune in and be part of the change. It starts right now. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Voices of Impact. I'm your host, Audrina Blackburn, and I am with Kara Lee, founder of The Wells. Hey, Kara, so happy to have you here today.
Thank you. So good to be here.
Let's kick it straight off. I've got 3 questions for you. Who are you? What is your mission? And why should people keep listening?
I am a music major. I went to Baylor University. I'm married and have 3 children who are the best part of my life. And they inspire me every single day to do this thing. And they actually believe in it even more than I do, which is crucial with a nonprofit. After 6 years, I can't believe they're still with me in this mission. My mission is really to draw people out of isolation and into community. Saw a great need even before COVID for moms specifically that are isolated and alone at their homes and having babies, and they just keep isolating even more and more, and even spiral into postpartum depression and chemical imbalances that prevail. And so we've just learned that women need a space. They need a place to go. Lots of women want to keep working. They went to school, they got their education, some have PhDs, and because of the crisis of childcare costs, they're forced out of the work field. So you should keep listening, because I've spent 6 years learning what it looks like to be a mom who wants to do both and create a work-life balance that's possible, to where we're fulfilling our passions, but also being a really good mom to our kids.
You guys heard it here first. Stay tuned, and we're gonna dive into how we can make it all possible as women and mothers. Was there a specific moment or event in your life that made you realize that this is it? This is what you needed to do. You need to create communities and find a way for moms to be able to live out their passion as a mother and also in their careers?
Yeah, I would say there definitely was. And I think my entire life has built up to this moment because I am a gatherer, I'm a connector. If I could choose any aspect of what I do in this world, it would be to connect people and kind of walk away. Like, I'm not necessarily someone who likes to finish a project. I love to give an idea, introduce people. I love matchmaking. I have about 11 married couples I've set up over the years from Baylor and on. I love finding people jobs. I love finding people houses, opportunities. And I just love when people are happy. And I know that that happens in connection and community and feeling like you belong to something. So I think my entire life has prepared me for what I'm doing right now. Never dreamed I would run a nonprofit. I come from production world. So I was an actress, singer, producer, director, writer, did a lot of kids entertainment. My dream is actually to be Mr. Rogers. And I want to revive that television show. So we see that, like, you know, this isn't necessarily my skill set to found a nonprofit, but those are the places where heart forward people who really care about people see a need in their community and they seek to meet it. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily the idea of co-working space with childcare that was like a dream of mine, but I saw that it was a crucial need for women, and it could be a place where this community idea and belonging would really just prevail with the women that I feel called to gather, and then also children. So it gave me this place where I could use every gift and talent that I have to facilitate something that would draw women together. And we just discovered that part of what makes women come out of their home and actually prioritize themselves, because we talk about self-care all the time. The thing that it's just not probably going to happen all the time with a mom. I've used the analogy that, like, I would never put my oxygen mask on first because I care more about my children than I care about myself. And so I think about that. I'm not a medical professional. I think about the fact that if that fell from the ceiling, I would immediately put them on my kids, even though they say not to. And I think that's how most moms feel, is that we put our kids first. Sometimes we don't even look in the
Mhm.
mirror, and because we're fixing their hair, getting them ready for school or whatever.
Right.
And you realize, oh my gosh, I've done nothing for myself. But
Mm.
what we figured out is if we create a place where children really want to be, then the moms will come. And what happens to them there is that they get refreshed and they become a better version of themselves for their community, for their family, for their people that they're interacting with. And so we say the well is there to refresh them so that they can be a refreshment to others.
Such an amazing message. And I think something that's so needed is being able to support women and build community. Because we all know, depending on what generation you grew up in, it's probably a little bit different, but it can be really hard for women to connect sometimes. There can be some of that cattiness going on, jealousy, whatever it might be. So I think to create a space where women can show up and feel connected with other women, whether they be mothers or not, I think is so huge and just a vital part. I mean, one of the things that we crave as human beings is connection. So to create a space that's geared specifically towards that and towards community building is really, really cool. What are some of the programs that you guys have at the Well?
So good. I was like literally sitting here thinking, we don't just do co-working space with childcare, because again, that wasn't necessarily what drew me to this concept. It
Yeah.
was just a need that I felt like needed to be met. But inside of that, I get to do the stuff that I love, which is dressing as Elsa and Anna for a Mommy and Me event. I've been Barbie, I've been a superhero, and just that's my background, is these. And so
Mm-hmm.
I see where I get to use the stuff that I'm actually really good at,
Yeah.
entertaining and all that for the kids. So we do those sometimes weekly, sometimes once a month. It just kind of depends on the season. Summer, we kind of slow down a lot. So we're probably gearing back up to do some fun stuff in the fall. We do ladies' nights, and that's where any mom or woman is, so on fire to come. So we have a thriving group of like girls who are young and single, and they love to come and dance and sing or whatever we're doing at that one. And then we have our staff who loves to be involved in those things, who are just amazing women. And then we also have the community of moms that will come, maybe that
Yeah.
don't have a job and are really doing the stay-at-home mom life. So we have a pretty good community of those people who are raising their kids and want to come to the Mommy and Me's, and then want to leave their kids with someone and come to the ladies' night. So it tends to be a
Yeah.
similar community that does that stuff. And then my workspace community isn't necessarily as involved with that stuff, because they've just been at the Well all day. So we have
Right.
kind of two communities. We also are a nonprofit for a reason, and that was because we just really felt like it's a way to impact your city. There's been a back
Mm.
and forth that maybe we could be a B Corp and have like a really just a social good piece of a business. But I'm not a
Mm.
businesswoman. I'm just one of those girls who wants to help. And so it felt more natural to go nonprofit route.
Yeah.
And then the other beautiful part is that we partner with 10 local nonprofits that are helping women and children.
Cool.
And we support them by allowing them to use our space. These are groups that are going to be a little bit more on the front lines of emergency care for women who've gone through trauma, survivors of domestic violence and trafficking, a teen pregnancy, things like that, that are things that we really go through as women. Homelessness, and we do a lot with a group of homeless outreach here in San Diego. We gather things for them. We also have a closet where we collect donated diapers, wipes, clothing, and anyone who comes to the Well that is in need, or even just maybe needs a break that week, can go in and shop that closet. And we get,
Cool.
used clothing, hand-me-down kids clothing, diapers, wipes, formula, snacks, grocery gift cards, and those get stored in that room. And so we have another group of trafficking survivors that come and use our space every Tuesday night. And their group, Grace,
Wow.
Girls Rising Above Child Exploitation, does career development there and teaches them about different industries they could go into, different job skills and things like that. So we use our space almost to just give relief and refreshment to other nonprofits that are doing a little bit more of that really hard work, and having, their emotions get very involved, because the stories that they know are very difficult. So we kind of see ourselves in partnership with those organizations, as well as stable moms that are in stable environments, that community comes together and learns from each other, because there is so much we can learn from a survivor. So we just see it as a beautiful, socioeconomically diverse community of women supporting each other, whatever state they're coming from.
I love that you guys have obviously created the space, like you said, for so many different women to feel welcome and comfortable, but then taking it that step further and bringing in other nonprofits that are local to you. I don't think we mentioned where you guys are located. So can we do that so the listeners know if they're near you and they're feeling called to get involved, show up to one of your events, or just support you in some type of way? Where are you?
We're in San Diego right now, but the dream is to franchise these into different cities. We just really believe that it should be like Starbucks on every corner. Just dream of days where we could be in a center that has neighboring businesses that might also be able to utilize the childcare. And so just like have big dreams of this place expanding. And we want to be all over. I want to be all over the world. My husband has some connections. Singapore and Japan, and they both ask for these every time they talk to him. New Zealand, he went through a master's program, and he met all of these people from all over the world that know about the well and see the need of it. You know, in other countries they have free childcare. And America is providing that preschool, universal TK, that actually did kind of wipe our business out for a minute, because we lost 18 preschoolers. Because if there's an option for free childcare, people are going to take it, which is why we really want to spend this year looking for some government funding that can help us invite more military families, women in need that are in the system, you know, trying to just get on their feet, that maybe we could partner with government agencies to have them support women to come to the well. Maybe don't want to put their kids in daycare and want to stay near, they're nursing and they want to keep nursing, you know. So we have big dreams of expansion.
How would you say that the work you're doing has impacted who you are today?
Wow. Well, last time I talked to you, I was having a really rough day, and I would say it is a roller coaster. There are so many woes that come. And I think that as much as we love the seasons of life where things are going really well and everything's just clicking and your kids are behaving and you're making the money that you need to make and your house is clean and all of that, that those are the days we long for. But in reality, the ones that build us and build our muscles are the hard days where we really have to rise and overcome negative emotions and fear and all those things that would come at us, because building a business in general is very, very hard. But building a nonprofit, having to prove impact before you've even started, because you have to have the seed money to begin. It's such a chicken and egg situation. And it's very difficult. So I would say I have become a completely different person than the girl that started this because of the challenges. I feel like my muscles are strong. I think even just like, you know, they always say it's like darkest before the dawn. And I feel like right now we're going through this really hard and challenging season, and we're becoming the women we need to be to actually do this thing really well. And so I'm not mad about how hard it was most of the time. Some days I'm screaming, you know, good grief, can we just get a check? Like, can somebody just believe in us and send us a couple $1,000s? Like, that's all we need right now, you know. And it's just it's exhausting. But when somebody walks up to you and says, the well saved my life, which happens so often. I even just got an email a couple days ago from a mom who's going to free childcare because her little boy has aged out a little bit. And she was just weeping, writing, I want to have another baby so I can come back to this community. The only reason I have friends. This place is the reason I have mom friends. And there's other women who are military spouses. One in particular who had her baby while her husband was still deployed. She came 2 weeks early, and she would just come to the well to fall asleep on the couch holding her newborn and put her toddlers in the childcare. So it was literally, and we saved her life. And I'm like, wow, to think that a co-working space with childcare could save someone's life, like that feels huge and so important. And I feel so honored to be the one who is leading this thing and leading these women into another season of maybe a better season, you know?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was actually going to ask you if you had a certain story or a person that you've come across through your work that has really touched you or changed you or just kind of reignited your passion and your reason for continuing to go and to push through the hard times that you're facing.
Yeah, those two for sure, but there's two in particular that are like wild.
Yeah.
One, because we do sponsor women in need to come into the
Hmm.
membership if they need it. We've watched a girl go through school and finish getting her teacher certification, and now she's a teacher because we watched her baby while she came out of her trauma and was able to heal and reemerge into society. And so that was an honor. The one story that blows my mind is that we were having like a networking group, just a group of women that were gathering, kind of a support group. And one of the women kind of shared that she was a meth addict and had been clean for about 8 days at that point. And we were like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Good for you, whatever. Well, then she disappeared again for a while. And we were like, oh, and we found out she was using again. But then about 6 months later, she just walks in the front door one day. And it was right when I got back from a family vacation. So I was coming in the back door and she was coming in the front door. And she goes, Kara, I'm back. And I was like, I'm back too. And she was like, no, I'm back. And I was like, oh, and I could just feel the weight of what she was saying was that she was clean again and was working on herself. And she said, and I have a plan. Every time I get enough money to use, I'm going to donate it to the well. And so about 2 weeks later, we were $2,000 richer because she was collecting her money that she would have typically used drugs with and gave it to the
Wow.
well. And she's been clean and sober for about 3 years now.
That's
And I'm
incredible.
giving myself goosebumps because
Same.
that
Same.
story changed my life. The other real quick one is a mom heard about a mom in need that we were sponsoring. And a lot of women don't want the handouts. So we have a mom that was coming for 3 days a week and working on her own stuff. And then 2 days a week, she was helping us with kids. So it's just a
Mhm.
cool way for her to give back without having to give money. And one of our members that was a more affluent member overheard her need and said, can I run next door really quick? And we're like, yeah, we'll watch your boys, whatever. So she goes to Walmart, comes back with a $300 gift card and a $300 cart of groceries and gave them
Wow.
to this girl. And I was like, oh my gosh. And for the next week, that girl that gave was like, I have never felt so good in my life. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's what happens when we give to others and we take care of others. We think we have nothing else to give because we're moms running on fumes. But what you find is when you get outside yourself and think about our community and serving other people, you get excited and happy and filled
Yeah.
up inside, you know? And
Yeah.
so it's just, those are my two favorite stories. And those women
I
don't
love
come
it.
to well as members anymore because their kids are older, but they're still around. They still show up at
Yeah.
our events. And so the community just keeps going.
That's incredible. And you know that you're doing something right if your own members are wanting to donate to your cause. I think that
Exactly.
that's huge.
Yeah.
What actions could people take in their own communities, let's say they're not near the wells, to support the cause that you're fighting for?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing for anybody watching would be find the local nonprofits that are the things that like break your heart the most. You know, there's
Mhm.
all of us are drawn to different things, animals, people, the environment, whatever. Like
Mhm.
we're all drawn towards different things that we are passionate about based on our experiences
Yeah.
in this world. And so I would say reach out to your local nonprofits. Y'all don't understand how hard this is. And it's very hard without people. So
Mhm.
find one that you care about and volunteer, and you will be shocked that it makes you such a better person. And we all want to
Mhm.
be better, right? So I would say that is the way to get involved in your community. They need you. We
Yeah.
need you. If you can't serve in a physical way, all of us need donations. Oh my goodness, like this is the hardest part is fundraising because we're spent. We're trying to do the programs and then also
Yeah.
have meetings and ask people for money. And it's just not the way the world is giving right now. People are not being as generous with their finances. They're being
Mm.
more generous with their time. People want
Yeah.
to buy a product that's a social good. Patagonia, you know, places like this, Tom's Shoes, Diff Sunglasses, they want to buy things that are causing an impact more than they just want to stroke a check. So for us, it's like that, you know, being a member at the well is a give back and you join
Mhm.
and it supports our bottom line to be able to give more scholarships, renting our event space, the beautiful event space. That's money that we can take back immediately to our community. I don't get a paycheck. I'm a volunteer founder. So there's no one, a lot of these organizations, go and meet the founders, make sure you trust them, because a lot of nonprofit founders are taking advantage of the donation. And we've seen a lot of exposing of people who are doing this not for the right reasons. So meet the founder, meet the people in charge, make sure that you trust them, and maybe donate. Those are two ways that I'd say we really need support.
And if somebody is able to financially donate, I know that that's such a touchy thing. And I think to speak about it on a podcast and just blatantly say nonprofits need funds. It's how they continue to move their mission forward. I don't want to shy away from that as a host. I want to allow the founders that I'm speaking to express what it is they truly need. And I think that if it falls in the right ears and they are bought into what it is you're doing, they're going to want to do that if they have the means. So if somebody is able to support financially, where does that donation go so that they have an understanding of my money is going towards this? What does that look like for them?
Yeah, this is maybe my favorite addition that we did this last year. We decided to missionally hire. So we have some girls who are actually survivors of certain situations that work at the well. So when you give to a nonprofit, a lot of what you have to give to is the operations, especially with one that doesn't have a reciprocal income like mine. The dream and the goal, and it has happened in seasons, it doesn't always happen. The dream and the goal is that the business would cover operational costs so that donors would feel so good about where their support was going. And that support is going towards our programming for these women in need. It's going towards scholarships for the women in need. It's going towards paying the salaries of people who are in need as well. So I always say it feels really good to give to the well because it's mostly not going towards keeping the lights on. We're very close to where it really is. That donation is going to immediately impact women in need and the direct, community that we're in. It helps us also keep our costs lower so that the women who can afford it are not spending their entire paycheck on childcare, because that's the crazy crisis that's happening right now in America.
If you could inspire our listeners to take one action today that would make a difference, what would it be?
See where you can help. Go, as Mr. Rogers said, always look for the helpers. Look for the helpers. Be a helper. The world is in shambles and people are so divided. It's getting really hard out there, and to be kind. And I think that the helpers in our society are the kind people, and you want to be a kind person. Just help someone with something. And I think you'll be amazed how good it makes you feel.
I'm going to wrap it up there. Tell everybody where they can find you, Kara. Thank you so much today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So it's www.thewellsd.org. And that will be our website. Our Instagram is also pretty fun. I'm kind of a goober. I told y'all I'm an entertainer. So we do a lot of funny videos, try to disarm women with our humor because it makes everybody feel better. And that's at the Well Community for Women. Is our handle on Instagram and Facebook. So
it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. And I'm so excited for everybody to listen to this episode, get some value out of it, and get into your community. That's the biggest thing. Go and get into your community, figure out what it is that drives you and that lights you up and that you want to support, and start taking action so that we can turn this world around a little bit. Thank you, Changemakers, for tuning in to Voices of Impact. You've just heard about another amazing cause, and it's time to turn that inspiration into action. Whether it's volunteering your time, donating to a cause, or simply sharing what you've learned, every action counts. Your involvement helps to build stronger communities and a better world. And for those of you who want to make an even bigger impact, we have a special opportunity. If you or your company would like to sponsor Voices of Impact, not only will you be supporting this platform, but a portion of your sponsorship will be donated each month to one of the incredible nonprofits that we've featured. Your support will help these organizations continue their vital work, extending their reach of their impact even further. Join us in making a difference. Visit at Voices of Impact by Audrina on Instagram to learn more about sponsorship opportunities, and together, let's continue to spark change. Until next time, Changemakers, let's keep the momentum going. Subscribe now and join the movement.